The following is a CNN special report.
What's up, bitches? We've done a lot of things on this channel, but there are some things we've dropped the ball on, like in-depth reviews on the games we've played. And that's what we're doing now. We're doing an in-depth review on Jak and Daxter. Let's get on to it.
So, Jak and Daxter. What can I say about this game that hasn't already been said? I mean, you can watch any review, and they'll always start out like this.
This is my nostalgia cash cow. I played this game as a child. These graphics were revolutionary at the time. This game is fucking old. It's the best game on the PS2 library. Get it.
Well, call me a mindless drone, because that's what I am, and I pretty much have the exact same background and experience when it comes to this game. So, before we talk about this game, let's do a little background on the history of what made Jak and Daxter. Also, I don't have the case, and I want to fucking kill myself. So if you want to talk about Jak and Daxter, you gotta talk about Crash Bandicoot. And if you want to talk about Crash Bandicoot, you gotta talk about the dog. Not just any dog.
The Naughty Dog.
So before 1996, Naughty Dog was pretty much
Zip. There was nothing there.
They were known as Jam Software before then, actually. Their first game as Naughty Dog wasn't even Crash Bandicoot. It was some weird game that no one's ever heard of. And when they were Jam Software, they made weird things that nobody's ever heard of. And when it came time to work on the 6th generation consoles, and they no longer had the license for their own game, they had to come up with something new. And what did they come up with? They came out with another Crash Bandicoot game. Kind of. I've always thought of this as a type of Crash Bandicoot game, but in all honesty, it follows the ideals of the sequel. Now follow me here, okay? If you want to make a good sequel, just do what Yahtzee says. You want to take an original idea and expand upon it. Well, the story wasn't expanded upon, but the gameplay was. Crash Bandicoot was a linear pathway type of game. Right. You follow a single path, it's 3D, woo, even though it really didn't need to be 3D. Let's be honest here, it was kind of a gimmick. And we changed that all up by getting rid of levels, getting rid of loading screens, just making it, I guess you could say, the very first open-world platformer. I want to say ever, but I ain't looking that shit up. I just wanted to make that as a disclaimer, because I'm going to be making a few comparisons between Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter, because in the style and the story you can definitely see some likeliness involved in there. So enough that shit. Let's get into the story, because as we all know, that's the most important thing in any game. Fuck gameplay. Let's just talk about this story. So if there are any major differences between Crash Bandicoot and the Jak and Daxter series, I would have to admit, it's the story, or more so, the stronger focus on the story. There's not much of a story here. Let's be honest, guys. So we start off with a narration from this classic crotchety old man trope narrating the game.
For the answers that my father and my father's fathers failed to find.
Yeah, that's kind of nearly the only trend in the series I've noticed. At least the first 3 games. This one doesn't count. So anyway, we learn from this narration that this is Jak, and this is Oh, God! I don't have to look at that thing the whole game, do I? Jesus Christ, get that away from me, God. So anyway, they learn that this is Misty Island, and they cannot go there, so naturally, they go there. Yeah. It's here that we meet our main antagonist, Dee Snider, and his twisted sister. Did I just make that pun? Oh my God. Anyway, old Twofool here gets an epic makeover when he literally falls into a literal pile of literal dark eco. Dark eco being evil, I guess, and he turns into a mixture of a weasel and an otter called a Notzel. Let's be honest, guys. Which one looks better? Yeah, I thought so. So we go back to the old dude, and he's all like, "Oh, I can't help you. But that guy way over there, he can help you." And so our adventure begins. So the goal of this game is to travel across the world and meet this man named Gaul so he can help Daxter become a man. Or a boy. Or whatever that is. What is this? So to do that, you need to collect things. Like glowing balls, floating eggs, and bugs that are trapped in crates for some reason. Anyway, that's as much as a story as you get. I mean, there's little things here and there, but it's really simple. And it doesn't make it a bad game for kids. There will be a small cutscene here and there, and it typically revolves around, "Oh no, we need more shit. Get out there, you slacker." Haha. Then there's like a final boss fight, and you know, shit happens. A little build up with Dee Snider here and a lady. But it doesn't really feel like it paid off to me. You know, there's just cheesy villains. Ugh. So if you're looking for a good old story-based game, I wouldn't say look here. It's more of a simple experience. So as I explained before, you need to collect things in this game. It's a collect-a-thon. Like Spearow. Your goal is to collect things and move forward. The challenge in your way? Platforms. What else would you think it would be? Huh? What do you think it was going to be? Huh? So anyway, to move forward in this game, you need a thing called power cells. What are power cells? Damned if I know, but you need these bastards. You can collect them in the wild, get them from freeing scout flies, or by talking to weirdos. Great. Sometimes you'll need floating eggs to get said power cells from weirdos. These floating eggs are called orbs, and specifically, you'll need 90. Why 90? Who knows? So anyway, there are 4 hub areas that you go in between, starting off at Sandover Village, and then ending up at a massive citadel. And they divide each hub world with these racing sections. You know, because Naughty Dog has a boner for racing for some reason. And one of the great things about this game is that there are no loading screens. There's also, I should mention, this floating electrical stuff called eco you can use depending on the color. Green gives you health. Blue makes you power stuff and run fast. Red makes you punch harder. And yellow makes you shoot yellow stuff. And dark eco kills you instantly. Or turns you into fuzzies. I mean, it's a nice feature, but it really feels like it could have been utilized more for some more difficult puzzles. It feels like just, you know, a little icing on the cake, but it tastes weird as compared to the other icing on the cake, and you're just like, oh. Now, my only issues with the gameplay is that some areas felt really bland and lifeless to me. I mean, there's a day and night cycle, which at the time when I first played this was a totally new concept. And I was like,
What's going on? Holy shit!
even though Grand Theft Auto did that a year prior. So if I had to say, Rock Village was probably the most disappointing area. Because, what's a goddamn village made out of rocks? There's no house. Where do these people sleep? How do you get into the village? This isn't a village, it's just a amphitheater. What is this shit? There's no houses. It's not a village. What is this? Ugh. And there was the Citadel, which I was like amped for the entire game, only just to find out it was a big dark hole in the floor around this robot thing. That was kind of disappointing to me. If I had to say that there were some good areas, I'd have to say my favorite areas in the whole game would have to be Boggy Swamp and Sentinel Beach. Now, Boggy Swamp, it just had the right ambiance. It had good level design there. And Sentinel Beach didn't feel like a level at all. It just felt like a cool area that you can just go to. You see, the thing about this game is that as the hub areas move along, the level design just feels a little bit more streamlined. Look at this, for example. We got Sandover Village, we got Sentinel Beach, we got the Forbidden Jungle here. Pretty much all of these, I guess you could make an argument that the Forbidden Jungle is not, but most of these, you don't have a set path to go down. It's just like a big open area. Then we got areas like the Spider Caves, well, even Boggy Swamp, Precursor. Well, I forgot what this one's called, but it sucks. They're all really just linear and annoying to me. I'm sorry, I don't like them. Except Boggy Swamp, I said I like them. It's cool. So, yeah, it just gets a little stale. But at least it actually will change up the formula a bit once in a while, and that feels really good once you get into it. This game, after you're playing it for a while, yeah, it happens. Thankfully, though, it's not that long. And it's also pretty generous with checkpoints and difficulty. Thank God they didn't fuck everyone over with their first game like Crash Bandicoot. Man, if I played that as a kid, I would have killed someone. There's a lot of characters in this game, but a lot of them don't really have any character. Usually they're just one-off people that you meet to get shit. Like this guy, for example. He lost his pants. Dear God. Then there's this dude. He's a pussy. Then there's this guy. He's a surfer. He lost his muse. And this dude's Batman. The people you meet are simple. There's no really development. You might get a few laughs, like these miners here.
He's a power cell! Yeah, what he said! That's it! You cleaned us out! No more power cell!
But regardless, usually you just give them money and you can never talk to them again. They'll just stand there forever. Sometimes they disappear. I guess deep down I really wanted this RPG feel, and if you're looking for an RPG feel, you're not going to feel it from characters, because, yeah, you could never talk to them again. Like this guy. He's your uncle. Like, he says he's your uncle anyway. They never really explain him at all. I think it would have more importance into the game. Even when I got the case for this game when I was renting it, there was a map that came with it. And on the map, there was like a note from his uncle. I don't know. Maybe they were gonna do something with this guy and they didn't. But I really wanted to know more about some of these characters. I just never could. Thanks, game. So we have the main characters, Jak and Daxter. Now this is Daxter, and you might as well give Jak glasses and a crowbar at this point, because he has no character, okay? He is the player. Jak is you. He has no interactions with the characters at all. So, I get where they're coming from for this, but usually this idea has never worked for me for a third-person game, okay? I can get it for a first-person, where the characters talk at you, but for a third-person, I don't know, it feels different to me, mainly because you're not looking through the character's eyes, it's like you're looking above them. I don't know if that makes any sense. That has just always been my opinion in the matter. I don't feel that it works properly. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention Daxter. He's the comic relief that's always there. Over your shoulder. Always watching. Always listening. Always annoying.
Don't worry, I'll avenge you! What?
I mean, he's not bad. Honestly, I think some of his dialogue's pretty funny, but it can get pretty annoying sometimes. He's just an over-cartoonized comical character. His presence doesn't make the game worse. It just, I don't know, it gives me that Crash Bandicoot feeling, you know? Then there are the recurring characters. There's not many. There's the Green Sage, who is a guy who can talk to plants. Also, he's old and crotchety. Then there's Kira. She's the love interest, and she has very little character. I think literally the only things you know about her is that she's the Green Sage's daughter, she doesn't date animals.
Rule number 1, I don't date animals.
And she fixes stuff. She's kind of bland, honestly. I just feel like she talks at you, doesn't give a shit. So in regards to that, just like the story, the characters are pretty simple. And personally, I think that makes the game a little bit less lifelike than a lot of people have said. Alright guys, let me get something straight here. I'm not a graphics whore. I don't go on the street with my PS4s and fuck it, okay? I don't go to my friends stroking myself saying I have a GTX 980 and it makes things look crystal. I don't really care about graphics. If a game is good, I'm gonna fucking play it. I don't give a damn. When we played the game for the channel, we played it on a PS2 with an HD TV. Not a good combo. I feel like not enough people know that, because when the HD TVs came out, PS2 was already kind of, you know, getting to be obsolete, and the PS2s were never designed to work properly with that type of television. It's just not a good combo. It looks like shit. Like, it looks better if you get composite cables, but we were using AV cables. RCA. These things suck. You don't use these. They're terrible. Regardless, this game is beautiful. It looks great for the time it came out. Honestly, I mean, it's not like Far Cry or Crysis level, but it looks pretty good. Will say that. My only issue with the graphics is sometimes the characters look a bit rapey. I don't really know how to properly describe this. It just looks kind of weird. And because I'm not a graphics whore, that's kind of all I have to say about it. What looks good and what doesn't is really subjective, as you'll find out when you listen to other people talk about this. Honestly, the music is nothing special. For the most part, it's just random ambience. And I will admit, that works really good in settings. But if you asked me to pick it from a crowd of other generic ambience, I couldn't do it. It's not memorable. Not that that's a bad thing. It does not hurt the experience like Resident Evil Director's Cut. As these tracks for the game work. Whereas this track, and many others, do not. If I had to say, I would say my favorite tracks were probably The Swamp and Sandover Village. And Sandover being because, well, okay, who doesn't remember those fucking bongos? And The Swamp, because that just, I don't know. You feel lost. You get this feeling of being lost in a swamp. trying to cut your way through the bugs, shit, probably never finding a way back. It just works for me. And a lot of these tracks do the same thing. I just felt like I had to mention these two because they stood out the most. But yeah, once again, very simple. So let's recap, guys. Jak and Daxter is basically a Crash game that is evolved into something else. More characters, a little bit of a darker tone, and it has non-gimmicky 3D! It's a fun experience, warts and all, and I advise anyone who hasn't played it to give it a shot. But once again, don't complete it, guys. It's not worth it. It's a fun experience, and it's one of the highest rated games in the PlayStation 2 library. So play that shit, come on, what are you doing? It's like $10? PS4 store? I don't know, I don't have a PS4. Whatever. So anyway, after reviewing all that, I'd say I have to give this game a 7 out of 10. So everyone, that has been my review on Jak and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. I hope you enjoyed, and I implore you to stick around and watch those other two reviews. You gotta hear the other opinions of the other people that were forced to play this game. So, without further ado, let's get into that.
What fun.
Jak and Daxter. What can I say about the game? Other than it's a heaping load of fucking shit. I hated every moment that I played of it, and I did play some of it as you guys saw, which is why I handed it off to both Caleb for the short amount of time, and John, who played the majority of the game, if not almost the entire fucking thing. The gameplay is completely asinine. The camera is extremely jittery in my opinion, not as jittery as other games, but still nevertheless it made me want to fucking vomit. Not to mention the graphics. I know that it was an old game, but we had it on a screen that should have made it look a bit better, yet it made me want to fucking scratch my eyes out and drink a fucking thing of bleach. Not a gallon, but like one of those pints. Either way, this game in my opinion was absolute shit. I have no sentimental value for it in my memories, unlike John and Caleb, and probably most of you that played it while you were young. In my opinion, it's shit, and it will always be shit. But sadly, we'll be playing its follow-ups and sequels later on in the show. I hope John's happy about this. Rating this game, I'd give it a fucking 2 out of 10. I'd give it more, but it had less chicks with big tits. Or strippers. Bitches need strippers. And guns. Bitches love guns.
So, Jak and Daxter. I've played all of the Jak and Daxter games, the first one, second, third, even some of the spin-offs, like the racing one, which was actually fun. But I sadly wasn't able to make it for our recording sessions for this game. I had some other things I needed to do, but I've played them enough to give my opinion on the game. For the first game, I have such fond memories of it from when I was a child, playing it with my brother a lot. We would always switch off every time we died, but it was always just fun, and we were kids and just playing the game, having fun. It's kind of nostalgic. It was nostalgic playing the game, definitely. So, yeah. I love this game and want to play the others sometime. Hopefully we get to. I'd love to get around to playing those, but until then...